Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an evening of Final Fantasy XIV. In today's stream, stroke episode, if you're watching this on YouTube, we are going to explore the somewhat intense patch 3.4, which is entitled Soul Surrender. If you remember, in last episode, we put an end to, kind of, the Dragon Song War by defeating Nidhogg on the last steps of Faith and rescuing Estinian. But there are still a good few handfuls really, of threads in this plot that have yet to be resolved, and we are going to resolve one of them today. When I first played this through, I found a couple of the quests actually quite irritating, but from a story and lore standpoint, this is one of the best patches that FF14 received in the 3.x storyline. So let's take a look at what is available. First of all, we've got the main scenario quests. We've got a bit with Alize, who's going to get her new outfit. We've got a bit with, surprisingly enough, Urianger, who we still are not entirely sure what's going on with Urianger. He's met with the Asians a couple of times now. That can't be good. We've got this guy, who we will find out a bit more about later, and of course, no real surprise, we have got the Warriors of Darkness. As well as the main scenario quest, there were yet more Hildebrand adventures, which is kind of cute. We've got the Scholasticate stuff, which we've done none of in this walkthrough, and to be honest, I don't think I've actually finished on my main. I should probably go back and do that. We've got the, I think this is the final? I think this is the final chunk of Alexander, which has some very cool looking gear. But it will come as no surprise to anybody when I said, yeah, I didn't do that. Dueling was introduced in PvP. Just exactly what it says on the tin. There were also a custom match and spectator mode set up. Sophia the Goddess was introduced in this particular patch. Great fight, from what I'm told. Certainly got some excellent music. New dungeons, Zelvatol. This is the story dungeon. We will be going there in today's episode. The Great Google Library Hard. We won't be going there in today's episode, but I really enjoyed the Great Google Library, both for its aesthetic and for its music, and for some of the mechanics in the boss fight. Actually, of the two, I prefer the Great Google Library to Zelvatol, although Zelvatol is certainly interesting. Apartments were introduced after the big housing debacle. So there were these big buildings and you could get your own room in them. Just in case you didn't have a free company house, you could still have a room, and you had limited access to chocobo stables, because obviously you couldn't have those if you didn't have a house previously. So all of the stuff to do with training and changing the colour and all that jazz was unavailable to you. The Orchestrion has got a playlist feature, so you could queue up and edit a playlist rather than having to fumble about with it manually. Aquariums were introduced so that you could show off the fish that you caught. Adventurer squadrons were I would argue that they're the Final Fantasy XIV answer to the Order Halls campaigns and stuff in World of Warcraft. The garrison missions, as they would have been in Warlords of Draenor, wasn't it? Well, when this was out, rather than the Order Hall stuff, which is what Legion introduced this year. It's clunky, it's irritating, it could really do with a companion app, much like World of Warcraft has got. You have to go back to your Grand Company headquarters for these, and it's finicky. It's finicky. It's a nice idea, but it needs properly expanding on. And also, through the adventure squadrons, you could actually get a new rank. You could get a promotion to first lieutenant, which opens up additional purchases, most of which I believe can only be used with your adventure squadron. So yeah, I think this was the final, if not near final, step to the animal weapon quest line. Deep Dungeon, the Palace of the Dead, was updated. You'll see here the new shiny weapons. It used to be the Palace of the Dead was floors 1 to 50. In this patch they introduced the floors 51 to 200. The storyline I think finishes at floor 100. And then after that it's just challenge upon challenge upon challenge, and I'm told it is really, really difficult. And to go with that, they introduced a ranking feature with floors and kills only for above level, or floor rather, 100. And of course you're capped out at level 60. They also introduced a new set of ether pool weapons, which are the Kinner weapons, which you need to hit, I think it's 60 in your ether pool arm and armour, and then they will change to look like this, and you'll need to spend 60 ether pool if you want to keep them outside of the dungeon, and they were item level 240, I think, something like that. And they were really good, and actually I used it on my Dark Knight for a while because I didn't raid on him. Wondrous Tales, we've spoken about Wondrous Tales in previous episodes once we first got to Idleshire, but that's that book that you can fill up a variety of criteria in and get rewards. New Tombstone, Scripture, which allowed you to get the Shire gear. New crafting recipes. Got to see some pretty cool looking stuff. The tank armour in particular is quite nice. New hairstyles. I believe these were based on characters from, was it Type 0? New burbs. You can get those from the Extreme Primals, so Sophia in this case. Some new minions, including a wind-up Thancred. The W cross hotbar if you are playing with a controller, which I've tried and can't get to grips with. Updates to the gold saucer, including the jumbo cat pot, so you can spend more of your MGP. But yeah, that is patch 3.4. The trailer for patch 3.4 is actually quite a good one as well. So let's switch us to in-game. I've been talking so long, the idle camera has come on. Let's get rid of that. Oh, there we go. Your search info has been updated. Since the last episode, you'll notice that I've been and re-glamoured my gear. Still not got the weapon on because it still clips through our head when we move, which is annoying. So I'm turning that off. But yeah, I've gone for a change of look. This is the Hellfire armour that I've just re-dyed. So, lots to do in this episode, so let's get on with it. The House Fortemps Night. A new day dawns in Ishgard, and the House Fortemps Night has tidings for you. Mistress Thornley, you are come at a most excellent time. An invitation from a truly preeminent personage was delivered to the manor but a short while ago. Would that you had been present to receive it, but in any event. Sir Emeric de Burrell, Lord Speaker of the House of Lords, Lord Commander of the Temple Knights and Viscount of House Burrell, cordially invites Mistress Thornley to dine with him at his estate. So we're going to go and have some wine with Sir Emeric. You seem surprised. The messenger assured me that his lord had broached the subject with you at an earlier date, when the arrangements for the peace conference were still being finalised, just in case you'd forgotten that he had basically said we should get a drink sometime which you probably had done, because it was a good 6 months ago in terms of actual real-life time that patch was around. Of course, the intervening moons afforded little opportunity for leisure, but with the happy advent of peace, 'tis plain the Lord Commander sees no further cause to delay. What say you? I haven't the foggiest what to wear. You would ask me what? Well, I'm sure that as a personal friend of Sir Emmerich, you are at liberty to wear whatever you deem appropriate. That said, when in doubt, a man of note could do far worse than an alpine coat. At least that is what Lord Madeline has been heard to say. I assume the same holds true for ladies. When you're ready, pray report to the Astrologicum. A man of House Burrell shall be waiting there, near there, to escort you the rest of the way. Because we haven't been to Emmerich's home. The only times we've been to see him are at the high seat of the Lord Commander. Just realised I've still got the stream thing on there. Welcome to the chat. Let's put that on because that'll disappear after a few seconds. Yes, I'm trying out Restream as a chat tool because I was doing a walkthrough, well, playthrough, a first impressions playthrough really of Warframe the other day, and I got somebody talking to me in chat, and I didn't realise for ages because I've got so many things open on the second monitor, and Voice Meter Banana takes up so much room that I just hadn't noticed it. So while you can't see it here, I have got a little chat box overlay that in real time shows me if anybody talks in chat, and after a second or so will actually pop up in game as well, so that if people are watching this later, they will know that I'm not just randomly talking to myself, which is kind of useful. Right, so this is where House Burrell is. It's kind of around the back. This is the Astrologicum here, which arcs over there. So this is House Burrell. This is where Sir Emmerich lives, in theory. In practice, he very rarely leaves the seat of the High Commander. Greetings and well met, Mistress Thornley. I have the honour and the privilege to serve as head steward of House Burrell, though admittedly our staff is somewhat smaller than those of the other noble families, being countable on one hand. Ahem. My lord will be overjoyed to hear you have accepted his invitation. As you will soon see, we have spared no expense. I dare say a woman of action such as yourself enjoys nary a moment's respite. Aye, the battlefield beckons even now, I am sure, but for this day we bid you lay down your burdens and raise a glass to peace and prosperity. I did not take the advice and put a winter coat on.
To think the Moogles would prove such harsh taskmasters. Forgive me. I did not know you had suffered so in your quest for the horn.
So that's a reference to our adventures through the churning mist, which I think I've mentioned this before, but on my first playthrough of the HEAVENSWARD stuff, I didn't find the Moogle stuff particularly arduous, so I did feel it went on a little bit too long, but I know a lot of people suffered with doing the Moogle quests. And I still haven't been and double-checked whether they actually eased the kind of Moogle quest line a bit, because on this second playthrough I really didn't find it all that bad. Maybe it's because I just played the 2.x stuff recently, and that was a bit of a ball ache as well. But yes, this is nice and cosy and homely. And they've got some custom eating animations for this.
I must say, your spirited accounts always come as a welcome change from the arid reports which fill my days.
More wine? No. Pished already. Gotta keep sharp. I like the fact that we've got 3 glasses. A lot of time's been put into this cutscene. You can leave us for now. A little bit of whiskey or something in the coffee.
Though I have lived in these lands my entire life, to hear you speak of them, there is much and more I have yet to see. Truly, yours was a marvelous journey.
True that. Wasn't all sunshine and lemon cakes. Lemon cakes, incidentally, are Ida's favourite food. I know this because I've been doing a little bit of research into Ida over the last couple of days. This preparation for something for patch 3.5.
Nor would I presume to imply otherwise. Neither I nor any man alive can truly understand what you have endured, and I cannot say with any confidence that I would have acquitted myself as well under the circumstances, much less grown stronger for it.
I don't know. I'm assuming that changes depending on which answer you choose. Again, trying to give the Warrior of Light a little bit of an actual personality.
By your deeds, you have helped us to lay the foundation for lasting reform. The formation of the Republic is but the beginning, for it is not only our system of governance which must needs change. We, the people, must learn to let go of our hatreds and rise above our bloody past.
The question is, will they let me?
I only pray that I live long enough to see us achieve some measure of success, that I might know the lost did not die in vain. I can still see you there on the steps of faith, striding fearlessly towards the worm. If you could do that, who are we to balk at the challenges ahead?
Yes, it was a rather glorious and epic cutscene.
The question of how best to strengthen ties with the other great nations of Eorzea has been debated at length in the Lords and Commons of late. As you may imagine, maintaining stability during this period of historic upheaval is our paramount concern. Nevertheless, we are greatly indebted to the Alliance for their support during the Grand Melee, and it would be remiss of us not to repay their faith in kind. Of course, we owe you the greatest debt of all, and it is my hope that in extending our support to you and the Scions, we might also express our gratitude to our neighbors, nay, our fellow Eorzeans, whom we pray you will continue to protect.
This is all very formal.
The Lords and Commons agree on very little, but not a soul in either house begrudges your order this offer of patronage. For all you have done and will do, we thank you.
So I. Cheers, love. Toast. Click, 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 click.
May I ask a personal question?
Ooh, Sir Emmerich.
Now that the dust has settled, what will you do? Not as a scion, I mean, but what do you want for yourself?
Ooh, I can't remember what I answered last time. Sure, it gives you a choice.
Lord
Oh, no,
Commander,
it doesn't.
pray forgive the interruption.
News from House Fulton?
An urgent message for the Warrior of Light. I was instructed to deliver it without delay. Master Thancred returned to the manor a short time ago, bearing an injured maiden.
Oh. Oh, of course, this is Alizé, isn't it? If you remember, we saw Alizé get attacked towards the end of 3.3.
Master Leveilleur and Mistress Tataru are tending to her wounds, but they like not her chances. Respectfully, my lord, they have requested the Warrior of Light's immediate presence.
You must go to them, my friend, and I shall go with you.
Yes, Alizé is not in a good state.
For every ending marks a new beginning. From tragedy and sacrifice, we rise to greet a new dawn, as did she.
I don't know who's doing the narration for this.
Only to be drawn unto another battlefield, another cause, as if by fate.
Yeah, I actually have no idea who's doing the narration for that. Google search. Who narrates patch 3? Oh. Oh, apparently it's Papalimo. Huh. Well, that certainly makes sense to a certain degree with things and stuff that are going to happen in the coming patches. But I'd completely forgotten, probably because it doesn't sound like Papalimo, because before he sounded a little bit like an old and crotchety, you know, Lalafell, and now he does not. Ooh, that's some weird anti-aliasing there. Thancred.
Yes.
Is that...
Yep.
Alizé, Alphinaud's twin sister. She ran afoul of the Warriors of Darkness.
Uh-oh. I'm fairly certain that texture in the background there on the window is... something's not quite right with that.
I had been tracking them since the ceremony at Falcon's Nest. Little did I know I was not the only one.
Yes, we saw him start doing that in the cutscene at the end, I believe.
Evidently, she had learned of their activities and attempted to shadow them on her own. Poorly.
Poorly.
I rescued her in the Twelveswood, and together we fled north. But though I made every effort to cover our tracks, they caught up with us on the Ishgardian border. And in the ensuing struggle, Alizé took an arrow to the shoulder.
Fortunately,
It was only
not
after
the
we
knee.
had made good our escape that I realized it was poisoned.
Ah, shit.
Thank you for coming so quickly. And you, Sir Emmerich.
Think nothing of it. How is she?
She'll be fine.
We have done all we can for now. Although the immediate danger has passed, the poison yet lingers in her blood.
Just cast poison on her.
We came to Eorzea together, hoping to bring salvation to the realm our grandfather gave his life to protect.
I believe a good chunk of this stuff changes if you've done the binding coils.
But when confronted with the bitter realities of its politics and its petty powermongers, she was driven to anger and to doubt. She refused to become embroiled in what she termed Eorzea's squabbles and distance herself from the Scions.
These are scenes from 2.0. These are from very near the start of 2.0, in fact.
Though she remained hopeful of a brighter future, she would walk her own path. Would that it had not been so perilous. For all our differences, she's as dedicated as any Scion to the salvation of Eorzea. But more than that, she is my sister.
Just making a note to myself to actually to go and look up which sections of dialogue change if you've done the binding coils, because again I haven't done them, and therefore my understanding of the story as a whole isn't complete. You know, there's still a lot of side quests and stuff that I haven't done that I would very much like to sort out and to really fill out the gaps in my knowledge. The Encyclopedia Eorzea does help a lot, and there's a lot of really interesting history and timeline in there as well. And in fact, I will be referring to that later on in this playthrough, because of course once we get to the stuff to do with the Warriors of Darkness, I vaguely remember it not being particularly well explained at the time, or maybe I just wasn't paying the right kind of attention. But the encyclopedia very much helps expand on some of those things.
To be reunited with her, only to lose her forever. Gods, even to speak the words.
Take heart, Master Alphino. She will be attended by our most skilled Chirurgeons.
Chirurgeon is such a silly word.
Bear Mistress Leveilleur to the infirmary at once. Apprise Captain Whitecape of the situation, and inform him that she is to be treated as my personal charge.
Captain Whitecape is the guy that we met right at the end of the last cutscene, actually, with 3.3. He's the guy that was tending Estinian. A healer called Whitecape.
Don't go. Please come closer.
Hello.
The Warriors of Darkness are in league with the Ascients. Slaughtering the Primals is but the first step in their plan.
Gasp.
They make for Zelvatol to bring about Garuda's summoning and to kill her. You must stop them.
I shall inform the others at once.
Master Thancred, I would ask that you accompany Mistress Leveilleur to the infirmary. Your knowledge of her injuries may well prove useful in determining her treatment.
Of course.
Ah, poor Alize. Surely they won't let her... Yes, I know. We must trust in Captain Whitecape and his Chirurgeons. Did they not bring Estinian back from the very brink of death? I am uncomfortably reminded of how he mocked me for praying at his bedside for days on end. What say you, my friend? Shall we turn our attention to a matter whose conclusion we yet have the power to influence? That's... spaghetti carbonara. Ironically, I really like spaghetti carbonara. That's not ironically, that's coincidentally. Coincidentally, I actually really like spaghetti carbonara. It's one of my favourite spaghetti dishes. Shadows of the First. There are quite a few orchestrion rewards for this, if I remember correctly. Where are we? Just trying to layer everything on my my other window. Do. Should work. Yes, so Shadows of the First. This is the first shard, the first reflection of Hydaelyn that was split off in eons ago, so that she could thwart the plans of Zodiark. I think we've already heard a little bit about the kind of splitting off of things. Yeah, we heard it from Infilia, didn't we? The Word of the Mother. So there's the source, which is kind of the mother crystal, the main planet, which happens to be the one that we are on, and there are 13 reflections of that, bringing the number quite nicely to 14. Final Fantasy 14. The 12th of these reflections was so overcome by darkness that the darkness won, and it starved the entire planet of all ether until it became literally a void of ether, and the only things left there are the corrupted and twisted versions of the people of the 12th shard, if you like, and that is what we know as the void. Because it's useless to the Ascians, because there's no ether left there, and what the Ascians need is they need to shift the balance so much that the shard is absorbed back into Hydaelyn, but you can't do that with the 12th, which I don't know whether this is a plot hole or not. Because if the whole point of the Ascians' plan, the rejoining, is to get all of those 13 shards, those 13 reflections, being absorbed back into Hydaelyn, she can't even do that with the 12th. I suppose if it is just that 12th shard, the Void, and Hydaelyn, then maybe it works for the Ascians and that Zodiark will take shape in the Void. I think that may be mentioned in the World of Darkness 24-man stuff, but again, haven't done it. So that's the Ascians' plan. Anyway, they cause calamities on the source, so that in order to heal herself, Hydaelyn is forced to drag back one of the worlds. There's two levels of things going on, and that's happened 7 times before. So 7 out of those 13 have already been rejoined, which is where we get all the 7 umbral eras that we've been through, the 7 calamities. The last one of which was, of course, Dalamud crashing into Hydaelyn and Bahamut being released. And the Ascians are trying every manner of plot and ploy they can in order to make sure that not only is the source disrupted, but all of those other reflections are disrupted as well. And the first is what we're going to find out. So the first of the shards is what we're going to find out. And we're going to find out what the Warriors of Darkness are in this storyline. So the Warriors of Darkness and the Ascians are conspiring to bring about Garuda summoning that they might put her to the sword. Then when we first encountered them in Lothas Nath, when they were confronting Ravana... God, so has this been their aim all along? What do you intend to do, Master Alphino? There is much more I do not understand, but I know this. A primal summoning cannot be ignored. Alize risked her life to uncover this plot, and we squander her gift at our peril. Will you accompany me to Zelphatol and help me to stop the Ixal's ritual? Of course we will. Given that Ishgard shares a border with the Ixali homeland even, not homeworld, we have a vested interest in the outcome of this ritual. We've been willing to suffer the Beastman's intrusions into Curthan lands to a point, but the summoning of a primal is an escalation we cannot abide. You shall have our fastest airship, Master Alphino. The mountains of Zelphatol are not easily traversed, and this endeavour demands all haste. The gesture is most appreciated, Sir Eric, but I fear an aerial approach is destined to fail. This is their homeland, after all, and Ixali dirigibles are not to be underestimated. No, experience tells me the only conceivable approach is by land. I believe it would be wiser to cross into Zelphatol by way of the mountain pass east of Camp Dragonhead. In that case, I shall send instructions for a contingent of the camp's knights to be placed at your disposal. They will secure you safe passage through the mountains and escort you thence to Zelphatol. Though my men are unqualified to confront a primal, they are more than capable of contending with the Ixal. We should be glad of their assistance, Lord Edmund. In the event Mistress Alize regains consciousness, we will share with you any information she may provide. May the Fury watch over and keep you safe. Tar. Then let us be off. We can procure any additional supplies we require in Camp Dragonhead. So, we are going to an area that we've kind of seen before, and we've been past before, but we've not actually ventured up to. Though actually, I kind of feel like in the 2.x walkthrough, when we came to Kurthus, I may have actually gone up and pointed it out. Alphino, have you everything we require then? Excellent. The entrance to the path is north of Natlan and due east of Camp Dragonhead. Though it's normally guarded by a score of Ixali warriors, I've been informed the House Fortom Knights have already dispatched them. The enemy's gate lies open. We need but walk through. Yeah, so it's over this way. Yes, so down here is Natlan, which is full of all the kind of level 49 Ixal, including some that we need to kill for, I'm assuming that's a Grand Company thing. And up here, past these level 37 stuff, is Alphino, Steadfast Temple Knight, and an Earnest Temple Knight. Mistress Thornley, Master Alphino, as you can see, the gate is ours. Be advised that our scouts are reporting increased activity around the first mountain. Simply put, they are up to something and don't want anyone interfering. We stand ready to escort you to Zelphatol and aid you as you see fit. Given the numbers we like to encounter, a two-pronged approach may be best. While the knights and I find a larger attack to draw the Ixal's attention, I suggest you and yours, i.e. our 3 skilled adventurer friends, attempt to slip past their defences and locate the site of the summoning ritual. If the gods are good, you should only have to deal with some few patrols. But if they are not, you may be forced to deal with the Warriors of Darkness. The Duty Finder has been updated with a new regular duty. Which we shall do in just a moment after I've been to the loo. Back in a couple. dum 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 dum. Right, I'm just going to check something in the hefty tome that is the Encyclopedia Eorzea. YouTube, primals, tempering, twin realms, crystals. Right. Dimensional compression. So, deep within the ethereal sea, light and darkness wage a never-ending war against each other. Equal in strength, their battles end in standstills, maintaining balance in the world. However, there was a period when the strength of darkness grew, disrupting this balance. From within the Mother Crystal, the will of light, Hydaelyn passed judgment that darkness should be physically excised from the planet, and cast the will of darkness, Zodiac, into space, where it became the moon. However, in doing so, Hydaelyn tore the very dimensional fabric, creating a rift which spawned forth 13 mirror images, which have since evolved separately from the original. This hypothesis continues by stating that of the 14 parallel dimensions, the original upon which Eorzea exists, 7 have already faded into oblivion at the hands of the Ascians who, from the safety of Eorzea, worked to topple the walls between dimensions, causing them to collapse in on themselves. Their purpose? To regather the ether distributed among the 13 mirrored planes and concentrate it back to the original, where it can be used to wake the exiled Zodiac and restore him to his rightful place back within Hydaelyn. This process, compressing 14 dimensions back into one, is what the Ascians refer to as the Ardour, and it most certainly spells destruction of life on Hydaelyn as we know it. So that is their general plan. Now, something about the void. Dum 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 dum. Bum bum. Incidentally, the Encyclopedia Eorzea is a fantastic book. Yeah, I've got this idea in my head, and I'm not entirely sure where from, that the void is the 12th of the 13 shards. But I've just read something on Google that indicated it might be the 13th, so I'm intrigued as to exactly why I think it's the 12th. I'm weird like that. Okay, let's do some Zelphatol. Oof, those Q timers, eh? So this is Zelphatol. We've seen Zelphatol from a distance for quite some time. It is a massive, massive area. And this intro tries to give you a sense of the scale of Zelphatol, because it is huge and it's made up of a lot more than just this one area. I seem to call these falling things. Oh, the falling things put vulnerability on the enemies. They don't actually do damage. So if you're tanking, you want to make sure that you do not get hit by that. Right, we can probably pull a little bit more. Right, let's pull him up to here. I actually haven't done this dungeon in a while, so at least not properly. Yeah, I could probably have pulled all of those up towards this wall. Toady, 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 toady. Not going to pull the whole lot. To be honest, with the DPS that we seem to be outputting, I probably could have done. Oh. There's a treasure coffer over there. It probably contains some tat. Ooh, didn't get all of those. Oh, I am an idiot. I've just realised why I was having that weird issue where I'd opened the chat. Of course, it's because the chat is set so that if you press Alt A or Alt S or Alt whatever, it switches straight to Alliance chat or say. And I've got Alt set to a few of my shortcuts. Right, this is Noozle Hellock. He's basically, a lot of people called him Tingle because he reminds them of Tingle from the Legend of Zelda games. He's got a column AoE, not particularly dangerous at this level, especially this gear level. But he will at various points in the fight use a lift which will drag him out of our reach. What we want to be doing is killing the ads and then killing the floating turret whilst we have somebody standing in that little vortexy thing under the boss, which will shoot them up in the air like that and cause it to pop. Can't remember whether these air stones heal him or whether they oh, they make him invincible, so you need to kill the air stones. we go. Okay, you can see the next set of enemies over there. This is a nice set of enemies. These platforms are quite interesting. You'll notice him running off, and you'll also notice that once you enter this arena, it puts a load of spikes around the edge. This is preparing you for bosses later on. You do not want to get knocked into the spikes. Well, at least you didn't back in the day. These days it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. But it puts a bleed debuff on you. You don't want to be there as the tank, let's put it that way. Go. And up the steps. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. I seem to recall you can actually pull all of these up to the next level. And if I was a bit more on the ball, maybe we would have done, but I'm not on the ball, so it's not like they're taking long to kill anyway. Also, I'm not tanking particularly well. Just stand still more. With the key. I was reading a couple of days ago that people wanted to get rid of Protect because they said it was basically a useless ability, statistically speaking. And I can kind of see that, but I like having the little kind of spell effect go off when you get hit. But you can see we've already come quite a ways through this dungeon. It's rather sprawling. More gooboos. Should note at this level that Soul Eater actually gives you 100% of the HP back. It's just as you go above 60 that it starts to drop off to a portion. Right, second boss. He's got a massive fan. You'll notice spiky arena, barricades. You want to be positioning yourself so that you've got your back to a barricade. On low is a Colonel Cleave. It's got a long cast time, slightly longer than you'd expect. On high is an AoE spin that knocks everybody back into the spikes like that. You do want to try and keep him somewhat in the middle. If you've got a marker above your head like that, you want to place it in the middle, away from any of the barriers. Swift Feather gives him an instant cast haste buff on his next attack. Or very quick. It's not quite instant, but it's... Palisade, what's that? Oh, that's the Bard ability. This is going to knock us back again. Whoa. 3,207 carbon spit. That's his tank buster, which I really probably should have put a cooldown up for, but I'm rubbish. And there we go, that's boss number 2. And this takes us up to the first mountain, which we were talked about in the cutscene. We're heading up to that. It's a beautiful zone, this. It's not quite the churning mist, but it's nice. Right, you want to be killing the war balloons first, because they just keep on spawning ads. These days you shouldn't really need to help too much as the tank. Because DPS from your other party members should be more than adequate for the task. More than adequate. Especially if you've got a samurai in the party. Oh. To make sure you pick up the air stone, because you can't access the next bit otherwise. Grab the stuff in the treasure coffer. And then use the Tailwind relic. Which enables you to do this. Whee! Really does give you a nice sense of fighting up a mountain. Right, now as well as that side, there's also I miss Blood Price used to give back so much more MP. It's a little bit lackluster these days. Where's that come back? Oh, it's because the war balloon hasn't died. There we go. War balloon drops an air stone. And once again, you can use the Tailwind relic. There's another coffer over there. Again, I don't think anybody in this party actually really needs it. Whee! So there's a mini boss, and then the final boss. can see there's some stuff going down in that room beyond where we are. I can't remember, do I? Yes, I do want to dark arts that. Yeah, so Carven Spit gives you MP back if you don't have it dark arts, but it gives a massive potency increase if you do. I remember. This guy doesn't look a huge amount like the Ixal that we've faced so far. He's very buff, but he is an Ixal, and he's going to die. Tozal Huatl. Huatortl. Oops. Pff. Right. You can pull him back to roughly here and everything will be fine. He casts Ixali Aero 3, which is a raid-wide, quite nasty AoE. Fortunately, it's not a... doesn't put a debuff on you, or a dot on you. Those green markers there are for the hawks above our head. You just want to spread out so that you don't stack damage for them. His Aero 2 is a column AoE. It's got a really nice spell graphic. Hawk you want to stack up for. You should be used to seeing that marker by now. And then he will summon Garuda. Who does some exciting AoE mechanics. And then disappears. Oh, darn. I forgot to dark arts that. Stack up for Hawk. He will summon Garuda again. Watch out for the timings on those AoEs because they're slightly different from each other. Bring Grid back on just so we can get a bit more threats. Don't think we're in any danger of losing it. I think I was slightly too slow with reprisal. Yeah. Nobody's going to use the limit break. Ah, I always get to. It's the reason I've taken it off my sidebars. I don't know where they've gone. And there we go. Yeah. Right. Get a cutscene.
Thank the gods! What happened?
Stuff and things.
So they were unable to see the ritual to its completion. Then Garuda is no longer a threat, and whatever the Asians and the Warriors of Darkness were planning has come to naught. But we should not tarry. The knights have secured our path to safety.
Well, well. What do we have here? You'd better not have killed the primal without us.
Sorry, dude. Who is that mysterious masked man?
You!
Yes.
Wait, I know you. Still walking, I see. I could have sworn my aim was true.
The Ranger of Darkness has confused Alphino for Alize.
Just what is your game? Leading us the long way so these fools could step in and claim our prize?
No. Let's not make hasty accusations. By the look of things, the ritual was proceeding as planned. We arrived at the appointed hour. 'Twas they who erred.
It is hopeless. We cannot face them all.
Coward Alphino.
Do mine ears deceive? A boy! So that's the way of it. Twins! You had me worried for a moment there. Know that I will happily make it quicker for you, if you just stand still.
Enough, Jarumal. We wouldn't want to upset the man in white with any unnecessary bloodshed now, would we?
The man in white being Elidibus.
You've been awfully busy since we were kind enough to spare your lives.
While you were idly consorting with the Asians, you mean? 7 hells! What could you possibly hope to achieve?
Should I explain it to you? Very well. Consider it a reward of sorts for beating us here.
So we're going to get some backstory and plot now.
You know the tale of Hydaelyn and Zodiac, I take it? Of the Great Sundering and the reflections it created?
Yep.
Across 10 and 3 they were divided. Reflections of the source, each possessed of shards of light and dark.
Just so. One of those reflections, the one nearest to the source, is our home. And we were the heroes blessed with her light.
So this is why they are warriors of the first, because they literally come from the first shard and the closest shard to Hydaelyn. So it implies that all of the shards are scattered at various distances. And these guys were, maybe not necessarily in these forms, as we'll find out later, but these guys were the warriors of light on their realm.
But not all worlds hold light and dark in equal measure. In ours, the power of light was greater by far. So the Asians, who once threatened our home, were no match. And they fell before us, one after another, till none were left. Victory, we thought. And then came the light. A flood of pure, blinding radiance, annihilating shadow, and color, and life itself. Ere long, it will consume our world, leaving naught in its wake but blank perfection.
That cannot be. Do you honestly expect us to believe such a story?
Doesn't matter if we believe it, they believe it.
what you like. But it has
Oh,
happened
it was
before,
the 13th.
on a world far removed from ours. The 13th, which was swallowed by the dark and transformed into what you call the Void.
Why do I think it was the 12th? There must be a reason for that somewhere, back in my memory.
Unchallenged light would condemn us to a similar fate. And so we joined hands with our former enemies, and with their aid came here, to the source.
And we find out what aid the Asians gave them later,
But there is
I
but
think.
one way to restore the balance and save our home. The Ardor. Calamitous destruction with the power to break down the barriers between planes and see our worlds rejoined.
You would doom our world to save your own? What would even become of us? Of you?
Enough. I tire of talking. You know our cause. You know what is at stake. We are prepared to do whatever it takes. Are you?
If there is aught you would say, say it. Otherwise, begone. You have no friends here.
So there we go. From the mouths of the Warriors of Darkness themselves. Obviously they don't tell us the whole plot. You know, a contrivance of story perhaps to keep us wondering about the full extent of what they plan to do and their role in everything. But an intriguing hook nonetheless for us to continue chasing them and to find out what happens. All things considered, we should be grateful to have survived that encounter. Do you think it could be true that to save their world they must bring ruin to ours? No, it matters not. Such wanton destruction is beyond justification. Whatever their reasons, they must be stopped. The sacrifice, the loss, it ends here. Grounded. Right, just before I continue, I'm going to go grab another drink. 1 second. Oh dear, just caught sight of myself in the mirror as I was walking through the living room. The headphones that I wear whilst I'm recording have made a lovely mess of my hair. Okie dokie, Alphino. Would like nothing more than to get out of the snow. Forgive me, this is neither the time nor the place for idle introspection. The knights can appraise Lord Edmund of our success, and we the Lord Commander. More importantly, I'd like to see if my sister's condition has improved. You may take a moment for yourself if you wish, I will be at the congregation. So we're going to go and tell Emmerich of what has happened. What am I doing? What am I doing? Forgotten night. Hey, Alphino. It brings me joy to see you safely returned to us. What news from Zelfatol? We saw, we kicked some ass. Then we were not too late. On behalf of Ishgard, I offer you my deepest thanks. As for we who remained behind, Mistress Ishtola has been tending to Mistress Alize in your absence, and I am pleased to report that she has regained consciousness. I imagine you have many questions, especially given your recent encounter with the Warriors of Darkness. I know I do. Come, let me show you to her room. Do not worry, her condition is much improved. She is a resilient one, much like her brother.
Alize, how are you feeling?
Well enough, brother. Thanks to the kindness of our hosts. They told me you had departed for Zelfatol while I was still abed. I slept much better knowing that. Thank you.
I take it your mission was a success.
Yep. But we ran afoul of the Warriors of Darkness.
As if we needed any further confirmation that they are in league with the Ascians. But to save another world? I think not.
I too thought his story fanciful at first. But it is possible there may be a kernel of truth in all of this. At the very least, none of his claims contradict the word's account.
You were following these people, Alize. Why?
During my travels, I had oft enjoyed tales of the Scions and their exploits. But after a time, I began to hear whispers of a gifted and theretofore unknown band of adventurers. Adventurers who had supposedly sworn to travel the realm slaying primals in the Scion's stead.
The Warriors of Darkness. And in the course of investigating these rumors, you stumbled upon the Ascians' involvement.
Yes, exactly.
Forgive me, but if these Warriors of Darkness mean to bring about another calamity, to what end do they hunt primals?
Good point.
To prompt an escalation. To deepen the beast tribe's feelings of helplessness and despair, and thereby drive them to summon ever more powerful gods. And lest we forget, these events do not occur in isolation. With their patron deities being slain left and right, the news of man's victory over Nidhogg must surely have sown panic in the minds of the beastmen. 'Tis no wonder they wish to defend themselves.
Power answered with greater power. Death with more death. A vicious cycle fueled by fear and hatred. I know it's like all too well.
Indeed. The Ascians sow discord and desperation, and the Warriors of Darkness reap the harvest. And so it continues. Yet that is not the extent of their ambitions. The Ascian himself observed that once the powerless realize that the old gods have failed them, they will have little recourse but to look to a new one.
Zodiac.
We cannot let that happen.
It should come as no surprise, but Alize and I have uncovered evidence that the Ascians have been manipulating certain parties to ensure that a constant stream of crystals flows into the hands of the beast tribes.
Shocking.
If we sever these supply lines, we should at least be able to slow the escalation.
Agreed. Kral and I shall journey to Zelfatol and learn what we can of the Ixal's source.
Then I, for my part, pledge to lead a similar investigation into the origin of the Nath supply.
Sir Emmerich?
As a member of the Eorzean Alliance, Ishgard is honor bound to play an active role in maintaining the security of the realm. You might also say that I have some personal motivation, given the Ascians' dealings with my father. However, I make no secret of the fact that my knowledge of primal beings is scant at best. As such, I should be most grateful if one of your order were to assist me.
Allow me, Sir Emmerich. I have dealt with the Nath before.
What of the rest of us?
Let us consult with Orianja then. Given his dedication to the study of primal beings, I should be surprised if he could not tell us something of value.
Notice the look on Alize's face here.
Allow me to accompany you, brother. And before you think to refuse, know that I am not the girl I once was. I shall not be a burden. You have my word.
Gulp.
But Alize, you...
She's going to slap you as well.
You are more than welcome. After all, it was you who set us upon this path.
Wait a minute. I'm afraid I can't allow you to leave just yet. Not until you try on the new outfit I prepared for you.
Oh, here we go. It's what a toad does. She makes us one later, I seem to recall. Would I be right in assuming that you have not spoken with my sister since one of the memorials? Ah, this I think must be where it changes. Because I assume if we have spoken to her, we get different options. By the 12, it seems a lifetime ago. I should like to think we've both grown since then. So that will of course change, because in the final coil of Bahamut, Alphinaud actually gets involved in all of the stuff his sister goes through. So that will definitely change, because obviously he would have seen us there if we'd taken part in that. My apologies for keeping you waiting. She wears short shorts and weird skate-like boots. Right then, shall we be off? Tataru never ceases to impress, though for a moment I feared she might furnish him with an identical outfit. Most the 12 she did not. Mother and father were rather too fond of making us wear matching clothes. Do you remember that time at the studio when that girl of yours crept up behind me in the hall and whispered, "Sister, please. She was not my... Can we not have this conversation in front of the Warrior of Light?" So be it. Another time, perhaps. I love Alize. It is an honour, Demajen. I realise we are barely acquainted, but having heard so much about you, it hardly feels that way. Ah yes, the carriage that so fortuitously arrived to spirit us away from Uldar after the banquets. The driver informed me that I had my sister to thank for his presence in Uldar. How did you know to send help? Oh, drunken brass blades are even less discreet than sober ones. Unfortunately, by the time I learned of the plot, it was too late to do anything more. Frankly, I'm still amazed Brent managed to find you. New garments aside, I must say that you seem different, more resolute than last we met. You have the look of a woman who's ready to fight for the future of Eorzea. To the extent of my abilities, perhaps, but I have no delusions of grandeur, nor will I pretend to have found myself or any such thing. I'm here today because I would regret it if I weren't. That is all. Fair enough. Let us depart for the Waking Sands then and see if Urianger something. I accidentally clicked the mouse there. See if Urianger has something more for us or something along those lines. Right, just before I continue on, I'm going to quickly Google what change text. Bam, 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 bam. Yeah, there's a good chunk of quest by the sound of it that change if you're actually done. Yeah, it sounds like there's a reasonable chunk of dialogue changes. Right, where are we? Two sides of a coin. Speak with Urianger at the Waking Sands. It's been a while since we've been back here. Dum dum. Bum bum bum. He says that every time we appear. I'm sure he comes over to harass everybody that teleports to Horizon. Speak with Urianger. What you doing there? Ah, the road to 60. How I miss it. That double XP buff was quite nice. You know, I was riding down here yesterday and I saw that block there, and for some reason it sticks out. I don't know why, but I have a feeling it might not have been there before. Probably has. Probably going insane. But considering how often I've ridden down there, it stands out for some reason. Stuck. Right, let's go talk to Urianger, who of course we should be a little bit suspicious of because we have seen him talking with the Asians. It looks like he's dozing in the corner. Urianger, apologies for calling upon you unannounced. Why, Master Alphino, would that the scholar had seen fit to grant me knowledge of thy coming. What bringeth thee and thine here this day? The warriors of darkness have returned. Pray allow us to explain. Explain. I too have heard tales in recent days of primal beings rising up only to be cast down by forces unknown. Alas, as thou didst observe, this serveth but to spur the beast tribes to pursue their goals with redoubled fervour. We have two objectives at this time: to identify and remove the source of the beast tribe's crystals, and to take direct action to prevent any further summoning rituals from reaching completion. The second is easier said than done, of course. While we were fortunate enough to learn of the Excel's plans before they came to fruition, I should be surprised if the Warriors of Darkness and the Assassins did not have similar designs elsewhere of which we have no knowledge. Thou wert wise to come hither, for this very day did I receive tidings most troubling from across the Strait of Melthor. Ogomoro stirreth, and there are whispers that the Lord of Crags neareth his return. Mere rumours, mark thou, but in light of thine own discoveries, thou canst ill afford to turn a deaf ear to their claims. Aye, we must ascertain the truth of the matter for ourselves. Let us consult with the Maelstrom forces stationed at Camp Overlook. Thank you for your counsel, Urianger. Pray inform us should you learn anything else. I shall. If I may, brother, Urianger, is there anything else you would like to say? Alize? If not, then never mind. I only ask because you are normally rather more verbose. Nothing to add? Very well. Ere we depart, I wish to make a request. The Warriors of Darkness spoke of how the Arder has the power to break down the barriers between planes, that our worlds might be rejoined. I'd ask that you research this for us. Being nowhere near as well read as you, I'm sure I wouldn't know where to begin. That said, I've heard tell of a promising tome, the Geroon Oracles. Mayhap you could start there. Steely resolve. By thy leave. Camp Overlook, was it? Very well. Alize has her suspicions about Urianger, and if you've noted the colour of Urianger's hair, you may well have suspicions too. He's got a variety of quests for us to do with level 50 primals. I'm not going to go and do those. Camp Oval. Oh dear lord, you're having to wear that set. I feel sorry for you. It's the mines. Right, let's talk to Bludin. 7Ls. This race will have to appeal to Maelstrom Command for reinforce. Whatever is it? We don't want any. Well, fancy that. Just when my kobold problems look like coming to an end, the signs of the 7th dawn turn up itching to pitch in. Bloody brilliant timing is what it is. Right then, let's get to it. So our friendly neighbours in Ungrammo have got much more aggressive of late, just as you said. Matter of fact, a scout spotted one sniffing about the stores just now, likely looking to make off with an armful of crystals. I'll be damned if I'm about to let that happen. Lend a hand and help us search the camp for the little bugger, will you? Our Maelstrom friends seem notably more agitated than when we first arrived. Do you happen to know why that might be? They've got a little bugger sniffing around. A kobold in the camp, you say? That would appear to corroborate Urianger's information, yes, but to be so reckless as to infiltrate a Maelstrom camp and draw attention to their efforts is passing strange. Well, there will be time to think on this later. For the present, we must do everything in our power to prevent Titan summoning, and that means finding and questioning this kobold. This chunk of the storyline is going to evoke feels. Hello, koboldling. Yes, there are many feels in this section. Do we go? Yes, we do. Stay back, away, far back. I'm not a. Gah. It's no use. Pointless, hopeless, no use. Poor little bugger seems scared out of his mind. Shit scared. He's up here somewhere, isn't he? But please, don't hurt me. I only wish to talk. Yes, yes, just talk. I care. Somebody who wishes to talk, he's sure doing a whole lot of running away and not talking. Poor little bugger. This was a stupid plan. Stupid, stupid, stupid. But if I tell no one, then everyone will. Gah! She found me again. What to do, what to do, what to do? I come in peace. I just talk, speak, say, talk. So please, please do not hurt me. So, this is our wily kobold infiltrator, is it? No wonder the soldiers were on edge. He could very well give one a bruised knee. Ah, the sarcasm. Huzzah! We got him. Fine work, Science. So, little one, thought you could sneak into my camp, did you? Plot to snare crystals, were you? No, no, no. I came to talk, to ask for help. But when your soldiers saw me, they drew their weapons and shouted, and I... Now, let us all take a deep breath and discuss this like civilized individuals. What's your name, child? Pigman Gabu, of the 620th Order. At least, we'll be a pigman one day. Well met, Gabu. I'm Alphino, and this is my sister Alizé. Demajen, the woman you found, is our friend, and now that you know our names, we can be friends too. Now, Commander Blood in here thinks you want to take his crystals. But you said you came to ask for help. Why to us, not to your own people? What happened, Gabu? Can you tell us? I am, Now, no one's going to hurt you, alright? Not while we're here, I promise. The Patriarch, he's... The Patriarch is going to summon the Great Father again, and you have to stop him. Beat him, fight him, stop him! Gabu's parents said they didn't want it, along with many others, but the Patriarch wouldn't listen. He was so angry, raging, fuming, angry. He said that if they didn't have iron in their hearts, they would serve as coke to the furnace. And then the guards took my parents and the others away, and I haven't seen any of them since. Coke for the furnace? I did not want to believe it, but I've heard tales of foci fashioned from the bones of beastmen which worshippers used in their rituals, hoping to summon more powerful incarnations of the gods. I think if we'd done the kind of level 50 extreme primals, that would probably have changed a bit as well, because you actually find out about those foci. By the 12th, that is sickening. No one listens to Gabu, no matter how much he cries, pleads, begs, cries. They do not listen, only talk about punishing the overdwellers and praising the Great Father. Gabu loves the Great Father, but he loves his parents too. So please, help Gabu stop the Patriarch and save his parents. Oh, cute little bugger. Commander, advise Maelstrom's command that Titan's summoning is imminent. Should the worst come to the worst, we will require their support. Time being of the essence, we three will attempt to infiltrate the Kobold stronghold, secure the crystals, and free the prisoners. Well, if you're sure, you'll forgive me if I don't seem optimistic. We'll make ready, just in case. We have been and fought Titan before, you know. I have faith that we may yet stop the ritual. We would surely have detected the associated etheric disturbance that Titan manifested already. But I cannot speak for the prisoners. 12 of mercy, that they would even contemplate sacrificing their own flesh and blood. Brothers and sisters. Brothers and fathers. Time is of the essence. We must see what else Gabu knows and formulate a plan without further delay. I heard Great Father Titan loves crystals, cherishes, covets, loves them, and if we gather enough, he will return. That's why the Patriarch told everyone to go forth and gather them. So I was thinking, if we take all the crystals away, maybe the Great Father won't come. Very good, Gabu. I was just thinking the same thing. Do you know where these crystals are stored? I know. Oh. Several spots, each defended by a different order. Gabu wanted to steal them, but he was too afraid to go alone. Yes, too afraid to go alone. But together, we could take them away and hide them. Come. Gabu will lead you to the first cache. Cache. Quiche. Right. Where actually are? You can actually see the docks and Wondrous Palace there. That's Camp Bronze Lake down there. Right, we can run past all of these because yes, crystals, excuse me. Quickly. That's what. Do you have them all? Good. Lead on, Gabu. This way. Down here. That were very northern. Down here. Boing. Time is short. If you have the crystals, we should move on to the next cache. Did you hear me, brother? Brother? Aye, it's just that... I'm quite certain that crate once bore Ishgardian seals. Someone took great pains to remove all traces, but enough remains to make out the pattern. See for yourself. I struggle to imagine kobolds travelling to Kurthus to obtain crystals, much less bothering to conceal their origins. I suspect these crystals were smuggled into Vilbun by another party, most likely a pawn of the Asians, as Thancred speculated. I don't understand. Who are the Asians? Do they worship Great Father Titan too? Never you mind about that. As Alizé said, we do not have a lot of time. Can you lead us to the next one, Gabu? Yes, of course. Gabu knows the way. This next one is the last, and it's very large, very big, very huge, very large. I seem to have got this last one's actually within... Oh no, it's not within the mines. It's out here. But wait. What's this? Though you cast about for time, you see no sign of the crystals. Uh-oh. They seem to have gone. Confound it. What about you? Any luck? Nuh-uh. Nothing. But this cannot be. Gabu saw them. Spied, spotted, saw. Think, brother, think. They must have moved them, yes? The question is, where to and why? Within Agoma, where they can summon Titan once before and mean to do so again. It's the only explanation. What about Mother, Father and the others? We have to help them. And we will, Gabu, we will. Stay calm, we still have time. They have yet to call for the remaining crates, yes? If they had, then they would have found the other crates empty and surrounded the alarm. Nevertheless, I believe the time for stealth has passed. We must breach the navel and seize the remaining crystals. There's no other way to prevent Titan summoning. But first, give me your crystals that I might deliver them into Commander Blooden's custody. We dare not take them into the bowels of the mountain. The crystals, if you'd be so kind. Since we just, carry them around in our magic bag. Thank you. I shall deliver them to Camp Overlook for safekeeping and brief Commander Blurden on the situation. Pray, go on ahead. As I recall, there's an aetherite within the Ogamru mines that will deliver you to the naval. Garbu doubtless knows the way. Wait for me there. I shall rejoin you anon. Strange. I would have thought you were eager to remain in the thick of the action. But if this is what you prefer, then Godspeed, brother. This way, this way! The grenade looks huge, but it's just perspective. Okie dokie, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for some feeling. Beware, as there are ninjas in your kitchen even as I speak, and they are just waiting to cut some onions. Not in my kitchen though, because the ninjas know that if they cut onions in my kitchen that they will probably set off some kind of allergic reaction, since I'm actually allergic to onions. So they don't just make me cry, they make my tongue swell up and my throat go bleh. Okay, but nevertheless, prepare thyself for feeling. I take it this is the aetherite we seek. Right then. As soon as Alpha arrives, we go. I trust you're feeling suitably heroic, Demajen. There's no telling what sort of resistance we'll face in there. Bum, 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 bum. Quickly, you clods! Briskly, swiftly, quickly! I will not suffer any further delays. Whoop. Wait. Lay down your arms and surrender. We have your crystals. There will be no summoning this day. Overdwellers? Here? But how do you... Where are my parents, Patrick? Where are they? Mother? Father? Coke for the furnace? You monster, how could you? We are but servants of the Lord of Crags. We are his, that he may drink of our blood and partake of our flesh, that he might draw upon the strength of his children and defend them from the tyranny of the Overdwellers. No, Alizé, not yet. I understand, Patriarch. I do. Your fear, your anger, your hate. You do anything to protect your people, anything to deliver them from despair. Whatever it takes to ensure that those who threaten you can never do so again. But in your single-minded pursuit of this objective, you brought suffering on your own kith and kin. You've sacrificed the lives of the very people you sought to protect. It need not be this way, Patriarch. Renounce this bloody course. Cease your attempts to summon your god and work with us together to build a lasting peace. Another peace to be abandoned at the Overdweller's convenience. Oathbreakers, all of you. Liars, betrayers, oathbreakers. You take, and you take, and you take. When you've had your fill, you sue for peace. You promise that this time is the last. Until you grow hungry again. And when we dare to defend ourselves, you declare that this beast tribe cannot be suffered to live, that our god drains the land of ether and brings nothing but suffering, death, destruction, suffering upon us all. I will hear no more lies from you and yours, Overdweller. You've ruined your own lands, you'll not ruin ours. Said I'd come for you, and I did. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Say something, please. Please? Please? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up. Pow! He got mountain bursted, or broken, or whatever it is. 7 hells? I'm here, I'm here. Alpha, no. Leave him to me. Ka-ching! Carbuncle on the face. We must away! Whoop. Except the damn teleport. So yeah, in case you didn't get what had actually happened there, Garbu's distraught. His fervent prayers for his parents to wake up has responded with all the crystals, and it's woken up Titan. Because his parents are sadly dead. He's breathing and I don't see any injuries, but I can't seem to wake him. By the 12, how could I be so foolish? I should have known better than to let Gabu accompany us, given what we were like to find. His anguish and despair served to birth a primal just as surely as with the supplications of the faithful. Worse, being born of such tumultuous emotion, this incarnation of Titan seems incapable of nothing but violence. If we have one cause for optimism, is that while many crystals were present, they've represented but a fraction of the quantity intended for the summoning ritual, meaning that Titan must be far weaker than planned. Be that as it may, he is yet a primal. The longer we leave him to bleed the land of ether, the stronger he will grow. And should Titan be permitted to leave Agomro, more lives will be lost. The Maelstrom will rally their troops and the cycle will continue. Demajen, you know what must be done. Will you face the Lord of Crags once more? Alazine, I will tend to Gabu. When you've finished with the primal, look for us in Overlook. We will be expecting you. So we get to go and do the naval hard. Fortunately, this does not take long to queue for. Especially not after 4 PM on a weeknight, because that is when the trial roulette resets. Now, one interesting thing to note about this is that Titan speaks during the fights. I'm not going to be able to read out the stuff, but he doesn't speak in his normal voice. They've actually changed the scripting so that, well, you'll see. taking a main tank? Yes, he is. I said I'd come, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. So he's actually speaking, not with his own voice, but with Garbu's. He does all the same mechanics as he previously does, but I thought he said more than this. Oh, he does. There we go. Mother, father, can't find you. Somebody just died. Did he fall off the edge or something? Wake up! Why? Yeah, it's a nice little touch that. I don't know how interesting or difficult it was to do from a technical standpoint. Ooh. But it is a really, really nice little touch, just having those things. Oops. Man, people aren't being very good at getting out of those poor little critter. Some poetics. Don't mind if I do. And the Spirit of Cracks. An achievement. Yes, there we go. Poor Garbu. I think this will leave us halfway through the patch. It's quite a chunky one. Ah, there she is. Did not tell you she'd return safe and sound. It would probably have made more sense if Arthur was actually looking at his sister when we turned up rather than talking to us, because it makes it sound that the logic of it doesn't work. The deed is done then. Titan is no more. Yeah. Good. There has been enough tragedy this day. It's been like that since he regained consciousness. We believe he can hear us, but he's made no attempt to respond. He's almost certainly still in shock, but we cannot discount the possibility that he's succumbed to the Primal's influence. Would that prove to be the case? He must be put to death like any other thrall, such is the Alliance's policy, yes? You have the right of it. But we must not rush to conclusions. After all, we once feared that Izel's followers were beyond reason, and many have since laid down their arms and accepted Ishgard's peace. Can but watch, wait and pray. The beast that mourned at the heart of a mountain. Them feels. Alizai is quite shaken up by the fact that they might have to kill him. There's nothing to be gained from dwelling on an eventuality over which we have no control, much less one which may never ever come to pass. Let us turn to more immediate matters, informing Captain Bludin of Titan's demise, for example. You may be certain that he will be glad of the news. Would you be so kind as to break it to him? You're a sight for sore eyes. When the others came back without you, I feared the worst, but they said you had matters well in hand. All settled then, is it? Glad to hear it, but not half as glad as my men will be, believe you me. Regardless of whether or not he was summoned properly, a primal's a primal, and there ain't a soul in the maelstrom that hasn't lost a friend to one. Don't get me wrong, like, we're all prepared to do our part, but we weren't so naive as to think we'd live to tell the tale. Thankfully, of course, it didn't come to that, which my friend sounds to me like cause for a celebration. Now, I know you lot have places to be, but why not stay the night? We'd be honoured to raise a glass to the triumphant return of Titan's Bane. It doesn't really feel like cause for celebration though, does it? Some low-res texture fish. Oh.
Who goes there?
Only us.
Oh, it's you. Forgive me for straying from the camp. He hasn't been feeling too welcome, to say the least. I thought a change of scenery might do him good. But, alas.
He's still catatonic.
It's so quiet out here. The stars spread out before us, beckoning across time and space. Dawn may banish even the darkest night. How bitterly beautiful, those words.
Words said by Louis, I seem to recall.
I should be stronger for all my experiences. Yet my heart aches more than ever. I never understood why Grandfather gave his life that day. I thought that if I came here, I would find the answers I needed. But when I finally laid eyes on the land he sacrificed everything to save, saw firsthand the bickering, the pettiness, I was disappointed. I was angry. I could not fathom how these people were more deserving of his love than his family, than me. Nevertheless, I had to believe he had good reason. I was determined to uncover the whole truth of the calamity and, perhaps in so doing, find my own purpose in this sea of chaos. My travels have been enlightening, but I cannot say that I have enjoyed them. I have lost count of the many petty crises that I was helpless to resolve and of the people whose actions I could not understand. There were others, of course. Good people. People with whom I felt a kinship, whose lives I could not save.
Again, I assume this dialogue changes a bit depending on whether you've done the binding coils or not.
I found myself asking what it was all for. Why try if I was doomed to fail in the end? But then I recalled Grandfather's words to my father, years ago, before he left Charlayan behind forever. To ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. We must all protect that which we hold most dear in the manner of our own choosing. We have to try, do we not? Of course, it's one thing to try and another to do. There were times while I was tracking the warriors of darkness when I faltered, when I was afraid. But then I thought of my brother, of Urianger. Oh, pray forgive me. This conversation has been rather one-sided, hasn't it?
That's fine, we don't do
Mayhap you could
talking.
recount some of your adventures in Ishgard.
Ooh,
We had no clear memories of our life in the hinterlands, having returned to the motherland as infants. Nevertheless, I am quite familiar with Master Matoya, as is every Charlayan. I should like to speak with her someday.
I can't remember whether she gets the chance. She might do.
It would not surprise me if Alphino's recent maturation was at least somewhat due to her sage guidance. I would never tell him this, of course, but there have been moments when I've caught myself thinking of him as an elder brother. The hopes and dreams of so many rest on your shoulders, Warrior of Light. As long as the sun rises, we can but carry on, for the sake of those we hold dear.
Alphino being a little bit diplomatic and actually standing back a bit. Meanwhile, in Thanalan.
To what end dost thou cling to the tainted gifts of the Mother?
Every tool has its purpose. Even this. Well, what is it?
I can hear random music from somewhere.
The seeds sown in Vilbrand have been plucked from the earth and left to wither. Alas, Titan's demise sufficed not to drive the kobolds to deepest desperation.
What did the man in white have to say?
That we are to proceed as he did first set forth.
Well, that's easy for him to say. It's not his bloody world on the brink of destruction, is it?
Be thou well reminded that with an end to Ishgard's unrest, naught now remaineth to preoccupy the Scions' thoughts, and thus may they devote their every energy to thwarting thee and thine. I foresee only greater difficulties ahead.
Foresee? Are you sure you don't welcome them? I'm starting to think you might hold a candle for your old friends after all.
In case we hadn't worked out who this mysterious man is.
Pray do not mistake mine intent. I but look upon the path which lieth before us with due trepidation. Shouldst thou be of like mind, pray consider then another course. For the power to invoke the ardour belongeth not unto the Ascians alone. With thine own hand strike down thine enemy, the so-called hero who would see thy home lost to light. Do but this, and thou wouldst at a single stroke disrupt the all-too-delicate balance of this realm, plunging her straightways into chaos.
So in other words, maybe if you went and fought us, the Warrior of Light...
You do realize what you're suggesting, yes?
To ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. The words of my teacher, and a creed I hold close to my heart.
Very well. Draw her out. We'll make it quick.
It shall be done.
Oh, Uyange, what have you done?
What good a creed one cannot uphold? What hurts soothed? What lives saved? Oh, hapless fool, what hast thou wrought by thine own hands? Minfilia, my friends, I shall not now beg your forgiveness. Full deeply though it paineth me to walk it, I shall not stray from my chosen path. As Moonbreeder remains steadfast, so too shall I.
So, some more feels for Uyange here. What has he done? What has he become? Does he have a plan? He does have a plan. Spoiler warning. Right, back in a moment. Right. What ho, Demajen? I trust you had a good night's rest. Is he trying to play off the fact that he wasn't behind us? I was but this moment speaking with Thancred and Ishtola via Linkpearl. They have some interesting news to share. Apparently, during the course of their respective investigations, both came across crates which had once borne Ishgardian seals. It would seem that someone in the capital has been very busy indeed. Accordingly, the Temple Knights have launched a full-scale investigation. Sermric believes that it is only a matter of time before the culprits are found, but we shall have to wait and see. In the meantime, it seems only prudent to look into recent activities of the other tribes in case they too are flush with Ishgardian crystals. With that in mind, I suggest we play Huiange another... Wait, where's Alizé? She was here a moment ago with Gabu. Dot dot dot. Let me guess, it's time to leave, isn't it? My apologies for disappearing again. If it's any consolation, I've already packed my things. How is he? Brother, Commander Bludin? Something tells me you're not here solely out of concern for his welfare. But to answer your question, there's been no change even. He will not speak or eat. I'm not even sure if he slept. If he did, he seems none the better for it. He just shuffles about with that same expression on his face. You will look after him, won't you, Commander, and treat him with every kindness. He's still in there, I know it. Beneath the anguish and the despair, he's still fighting with all his heart. He deserves to be given that chance until he comes back to us, until we know for certain what has become of him. Aye, you needn't worry. If he hadn't missed his nest to warn us and help you secure the better part of the crystals, this could have turned out a damn sight worse than it did. We'll not soon forget that, and nor will Maelstrom Command. I'm so sorry, Gabu, I truly am. You've never been made to, and I know I can't possibly understand. Maybe there's nothing I can say or do. The pain, the anger, the helplessness. Hold fast to the memories of better times. Remember them as they were. When it hurts so much your heart feels fit to burst, let it burst. Let it burst and fill up again with your love for them, and never ever forget. Come along, little one. I will remember them. And you, Alizé. Q. Have faith, sister. Your words have reached him. In time he will recover. And those who orchestrated these events will be made to answer for their crimes. A 1,000 times over, aye, there will be a reckoning. So, feels, many feels. Text message. Return to the waking sands. Oops. My mate's just texting me telling me he's having a fun time playing Bloodborne. And by a fun time, I mean he's sworn about it quite a lot. I love that game. I really should play some more Bloodborne on stream, especially now I've actually got it working. It'd be a bit of a waste not to use the HD 60 more. We have heard the glad tidings from Ogomro, my friends. By the grace of the 12 and your most valiant efforts, the people of Limsa may rest easy. I should like to think so, yes. Though we failed to prevent the Lord of Crags from manifesting, we did succeed in weakening him, enabling our friend to dispatch him before the Warriors of Darkness could make matters worse. It was by no means an unmitigated success, but it will have to suffice. Then, let us speak of another matter, one which weigheth heavy on my lady's mind. As thou didst request, I sought out the Garoon oracles that we might better understand the aims of the Warriors of Darkness. Though the copious use of allegory defieth any single interpretation, the oracles paint a most disturbing picture. One of worlds parallel to our own, apart yet linked, reduced to ruin with every umbral calamity. 7 times have they succeeded. Then of 10 and 3, only 6 worlds remain. Aye, all this as my lady Minfilius spake unto thee. As for what becometh of these reflections when they in the source are rejoined? Frail flesh undone in umbral fires, each soul surrendereth to her call to flow into the endless sea, there to endure as one and none. This is where the title of the patch comes in, Soul Surrender. So all of the souls, all of the people, all of the ether, when they are rejoined to the source, they become as part of the life stream. Then, and if the Warriors of Darkness succeed, everyone in the world will die. In essence, aye. The verse speaketh of the renunciation of the flesh and subsequent return to the life stream. However, this fate may yet be preferable to the alternative, for if the first were to fall to transcendent light in the manner the Warriors of Darkness described, it would give way unto a void wherein none may know either life or death. Far better to die, they reason, for in death there is life. The essence of a soul which returneth unto the source may be born anew, saved. Such at least is their belief, I surmise. If that is true then, gods, no one should have to make such a choice. Yeah, so basically, the Warriors of Darkness have got to make a choice between killing every single person on their planets or letting them suffer an endless mockery of life. Just like the Void Center become. Before we speak further on this subject, I would share with you another recent discovery. It would seem that several sizable shipments of crystals have been delivered into the hands of certain Alamegan parties. Alamegans? Strange. And you believe this to be the work of the same Ishgardian smugglers who supplied the beast tribes? I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, unless they wonder at their motive, I would remind you that the Ascians did once attempt to bring about the summoning of Rolga. The individuals who took receipt of these shipments are refugees belonging to a group devoted to the cause of Alamegan liberation. It may also interest thee to know that their Ishgardian suppliers appear to be none other than the remains of Aline Royal's Royal, I think it was, network of spies, the Ivy. Surely you jest. And yet it is not so surprising. Bereft of leadership and hunted by the Alliance, I can well imagine such villains being desperate enough to conspire with the Ascians, assuming they even know or care who their new employers are. All of which is irrelevant. Forgive me, we must seek out the resistance group which received the crystals without delay. Demajen, Alize, will you come with me to Little Alamigo? Yes, of course. I should like to hear what they have to say for themselves firsthand. May you ever walk in the light of the crystal. That tension between Alize and Urianger, she knows what's up. Alphino? There's Alize, Demajen, are you three listening? Good, I have tidings. Temple Knights raided the smuggler's warehouse less than an hour ago. A cursory interrogation of the prisoners yielded information that they were in the employ of, and I hope he's sitting down, a man in black robes. Then you have them, and the crystals too? What few remained, regrettably, it would seem they dispatched one final shipment in the hours before we struck. It was bound for Little Alamigo, we're told, where it will be received by members of a local resistance group. Since Sir Emmeric's men no longer have need of my services, I have a mind to head that way. As to we, by happy coincidence, we learned of the shipments but a few moments ago. Ha! And there I was thinking I might finally be one step ahead of the Warrior of Light and her little helpers. Wait a moment, there's more. I defy you not to be surprised by this revelation. The leader of the Ishgardian smugglers was formerly in the employ of one Aline Royal, the infamous Ivy herself. Once again, Thancred, I fear I must inform you that... Thancred, with whom else have you shared this information? About the smugglers? No one. As I think I mentioned, the raid was less than an hour ago. I was planning to contact Y'shtola next, but if there's someone else who you would have me notify first... No, there isn't. Yeah, so how has Urianger come upon this information? You'll notice that this is us pushing us towards Little Alamigo. What in the world has gotten into her? It's twice now that we've sought Urianger's aid, and twice she has treated him as if he was a stranger. The Archon was one of Grandfather's most dedicated pupils, and spent as much time at the Levieux estate as we did. He's practically a member of the family. Truth be told, I struggle to recall a day for my childhood when I did not see the three of them laughing together. If this continues, I may have to raise the matter. Later, though, Little Alamigo awaits. I will get to the bottom of this. Oh, forgive me, it's been a long day. Did you have something to say? Urianger? Oh, I've always struggled to understand what's going on in his head, now more than ever. Listen, if anything should happen, it should be me who... Just know that I'm prepared to do what must be done. Right then, To more pressing matters, since we have no idea when Thancred might arrive, I suggest we see what information we can gather in his absence. Okay, there are 4 more quests in this particular patch, but one of them is a solo duty and takes quite some time, and the others have got a fair chunk of lore revolving around them. So I'm going to end this stream here, because we're 2 hours and 40 minutes in anyway. So this will be a 2-parter, and depending on my plans for the evening, because I might be going out, I'm not sure yet. I'm waiting for people to text me back. But either way, I'll finish this either tonight or at some point tomorrow. Thank you all for joining me, stroke watching. I hope you all have a great evening. I may be back later. If not, from Demajen and me, ta-ta and toodle pip for now.